Hello students, this is the Excel part that probably came for the first variant students. Okay, I've tried to make up exactly the same case. I'm not sure it's exactly the same thing. It was quite like this. So this is what was required. Yes, it was a lengthy formula, yes, but if you have an understanding of the question, it was not really very complicated. Those students of mine who appeared for the CENTEP exam with me, we did if and VLOOKUP, where we had the number of properties and the area, and we had to use if with multiple VLOOKUPs. Yes, this is quite the same case. Now, the question over here is, I'll do this again for you, don't worry. We have two sheets. One is a working area, and one is this. I have some types of bricks. I have the item codes or the brick code for them. Okay, they have been labeled with different code. There are different number of bricks available. I mean, they're the same number. There are 390 bricks available in every pack. Face area of the brick are different. Okay, there are different face areas for every brick pack that you might have. Okay. Now the question basically said the following. It said that 10% extra has to be added for any wastage. If there is a single or double wall that they're talking about, is it a single wall, double wall? You had to type single yourself over here. Okay, right? The width of the wall is this much, the height of the wall is this much, and then there is the brick code, which is basically S or D was the restriction they wanted. Now how did I do this part? Okay, I'll do this part over here just to demonstrate it. For example, I've done the same thing over here. All I did was came to validation. In data validation you have different things. You can have whole number, you can have decimal, you can have list. Whole number means you can enter values between 12 and 22, and you can enter some input text and some error message. Okay, and then you have is your decimal. Okay, decimal, list, date, or time. Right, so from here what I'll do is I'll select is only the list. In list what we need is S comma D. So in case of S comma D, what will happen is I will only get S or D. Okay, so we can further do is we can even type an input message which will say over here, enter S or D. Okay, so I can say over here you have to enter either of these. Error message says wrong entry made, and please enter S or D again. So here you go. This means when I click over it will tell me what I have to type. So for example, if I type over here mistakenly if I type over here, I double click, and if I type E, it will give me an error message saying please enter S or D again. So I'll retry, and I'll select from here is S or D. Well, this part is done. Now let's look at the question. Let's look at the question thoroughly. Now basically there are two things we have to do. We have to see if it's single wall, then we'll simply do is this multiplied by this, the total area of the wall will obviously be divided by the face area. Yeah, I mean the face area of the brick. So I'll obviously know the total number of bricks that will be required. Simple maths. So if it's double, the question said that in case if I write over here is double, then obviously I will be multiplying it by 2. So let's look at this. If this value is single, then do what? Multiply this B10 by B11 and divide it by what? Divided by VLOOKUP, which I have B12, which is S. So I'll look up from here. By having a lookup from here, I will see I have 153, so it will divide by 153. So this entire thing from here till here is basically giving me 153, if you get the point, right? So from here till here, I'm getting 153 by having a VLOOKUP to see what S is equal to with the face value. Otherwise, the if statement says, otherwise, we do the same thing. We divide this by this. We look up again, and I divide it by again the same thing, 153, which is comma 3. But in case of double, because this statement is for single, this statement is for double. So in case of double, I would also multiply it by 2. Obviously, if it's double, I would require double amount of bricks. Then the question also said that we have to add even 10% if there 10% of the extra wastage. Now, which actually means I need 10% of 390. I mean, 390 is not the actual amount of bricks I would require. I would require 39 bricks more. So 10% of 390 is 39. So again, what I have to do is I have to see if I'm selecting S, I have to see 390 and I have to actually multiply 390 by 0.1. Okay, 0.1. So what I've done over here is I've done 10% VLOOKUP B12, look for S, look from here, and give me the second column, which is the number of bricks required. So this is how this question was done. So I can select from here is D, I can type over here is single. So that's how this question came, and this is how it was dealt with. Okay, in Excel, please, you should have an idea of if and VLOOKUP. I repeat it again that we have done this before in our setup exam where we did the number properties. Okay, in Dreamweaver there was another point. Although this was again not very technical, but yes, it was a good point. The point basically was something like this. The examiner said that we are supposed to make 4 rows and 3 columns. Okay, and what we were supposed to do was we were supposed to make the entire table width as 1200. Okay, and we were supposed to make all these 3 cells with width is equals to 400 and height is equals to, let's say, 140. I don't exactly remember. So I was supposed to make these 3 cells of the following dimension. So you can see 400, I'm sorry, it's not 499, it's 400. So this is what we have, 400 by 140. Then this was supposed to be again 1200. So if I merge this, obviously this will be 1200 and this will be 1200. So even if I don't mention over here, obviously this is 1200. Now call span basically means that this particular column has been is basically expanded, is basically spread to 3 columns. Call span is 3. Now over here they wanted 2 columns because they had an image over here which would exactly fit over here, and this image will have a width of 400. They had another image over here and this image had a width of 400. This means this has to remain over here. We cannot change the size of the cell. Here they wanted an image which was approximately 600. So the image would have come till here. If it's 600, obviously half of 1200 600. So what students were supposed to do was they were just supposed to make 2 columns over here. Fine. Now the problem was Once they inserted an image over here, this is just 400, you can see over here. So once they inserted an image which was 600, this is what happened. The dimension of this was changed. Though these three were supposed to be equal. How to deal with such a kind of issue? Well, there was a very easy way to deal with it, but obviously you have to think about it. What we'll do is we'll add 4 rows, but we'll instead of 3, we'll make it 6. Now, how could this be of advantage? I would have merged these two. I would have merged these two, and I would have merged these two. I would have merged all these, and I would have merged all these. I would have actually merged was these three, and I would have merged these three. Now you can see over here, I've got this exactly 600. It's very simple. If you want to have accuracy, the good point will be to add lots of columns. Instead of 6, you could even add it 20. The advantage of 20 would have been you would have got much more accuracy by merging these. So you should have a good idea about how to create the number of rows and number of columns. So it was a good point that came in this time. Like I said, I was telling every year there are different points that are coming in. I was telling my students this year the paper will tend to be more technical. I've been telling my students for the past 1 year. So it came. Right? I will share more information prior to the exam of P3. Okay, if there is something. So these were the 2 points that I wanted to discuss with my students, and they have been asking me.